Have you ever made a sorceress with more dexterity than any other attribute on purpose that also kicked butt? Hey all, Dwarf Lord here, Doctor by day, Doctor Diablo 2 by night. I've played this game for more than 20 years, and I've played a Zeal slash melee source during most of my time playing. So you could say I know a few things. I am considered by many to be an expert on the Zeal Sorceress. No, not really, but after this video, you might. This is an uncommon build, but if you like the idea of teleporting around and zealing for upwards of 70,000 damage, yes, that's right, while also being surprisingly tanky for a sorceress, then this is for you. It's like a sorceress and a paladin had a baby, and this is the result. It can clear any content, even the Ubers, with a couple tweaks using the Eternity rune word. It can magic find, it can even PvP. It's definitely not top tier, but I'm sure your opponent will be surprised when you start punching them in the face. Best of all, in patch 2.4, Zeal Source is actually getting buffed. More on that later. Let's go over some of the pros and cons of this build. Pro, looks cool. You got Holy Shock on your feet. You are a sorceress, hitting things. You turn heads. You have dual elements, lightning and fire, so there are very few immunes to worry about. Two sources of damage is a good thing to have in PvP. It's tough to gear against. You have very high single target damage. Zeal hits 5 times and one-shots most enemies, so every Zeal, 5 guys dies. Yes, you will kill the fast food chain. But for real, every Zeal, things just die around you. You're really good against Bale Waves and packs of boss monsters like in the pit. Not the greatest at having to kill big chunky guys like a pack of 100 cows. That's not what you're best at. Pro, melee are going to love you. When you enchant them, they're going to love that. Con, there are never any melee around to buff. But great for helping people level up. You can buff them with enchant, and they're going to level up a lot faster. Con, expensive. Con, not the best AoE damage. However, solid AoE on players 1 to 3. Your aura pulsing every 3 seconds will one-shot a lot of enemies. But not on players 8, so that's where the AoE suffers. With the new buffs, the pulse damage of Holy Shock is increased by 200%, so double damage. And it's 24 yards, it's off the screen. So this is a buff in that con area. It's not the best dueler, but it can really pack a punch. 1 or 2 shot most people. So another little bit of a con there in terms of the dueling arena. Bit of a glass cannon, but with good gear. This could be pretty darn tanky. And the biggest con is that to get that 70,000+ damage, you need to pre-buff. And that's a real pain. It's not, however, required. Pre-buffing is mostly for PvP and doing crazy big damage. Pre-buffing is kind of frowned upon in PvP, so this character's still gonna wreck face and kill stuff really fast, even without pre-buff. Here are the breakpoints that we're gonna hit. We need to hit 65 increased attack speed. This will give us a 7-frame Zeal. It's the fastest a sorceress can attack. Anything less than this, you're not gonna have a good day. This is 3.28 attacks per second. Give us 86 FHR, although you could opt for a little bit less if you need to, and 37 faster cast rate, which is 10 frames, which is the same as 75 FCR Pally, 163 Druid, 102 Assassin, so you're going to keep up with other players' level of FCR. You're just not at the 8-frame normal Sorceress FCR. Let's go over the gear. This is a Zeal source, so how the heck are we going to Zeal? Passion, Phase Blade. Phase Blade's the fastest, must be a Phase Blade. This gives us Zeal, which lets us hit 5 times very fast, and it also gives us Berserk. Berserk is a single target attack that gives even more attack rating, and there might be instances that you experiment with that you might prefer Berserk over Zeal, because Zeal's going to hit random guys, whereas Berserk, maybe you want to go on the same guy. like Neelathok. Next, we get Holy Shock from Dream, Helmet, and Shield. Kind of mandatory. Tower Shield. Must be in a Tower Shield. Anything else, the block is not going to be high enough, or the strength is going to be too high. So Tower Shield is what you want. This has the Holy Shock, faster hit recovery, life, vitality, mana per level, even magic find, and of course resistance. The helmet could be like a diadem or a tiara, or do something a little flashy like a great helm or a crown. Don't be making this in some bone visage or some high strength helmet. You're not a paladin, you're a sorceress. You're going to find out that this is an energy shield sorceress due to the warmth. Frostburns, SOJ, Arachnid, SOJ. And our necklace is a GG faster cast rate neck with source skills, strength, and mana. If you need the resist, then get resist instead of strength. Or this character has so much damage, to be honest, it doesn't even need the +2 to sorceress skills. You could wear some cheap FCR necklace with strength, dexterity, mana, resistance, whatever. And we're going to wear some resist boots, because we do need resistance here. But if you only get some dual resist boots, yeah, you make up for it with the charms. And lastly, the pièce de résistance. We need to hit our increased attack speed breakpoints. And since the weapon only has the increased attack speed, we need a Jeweler's Dusk Shroud of the Whale. FYI, these items I created them in single player just to show you what the best of the best, sir! Funny, haha.
Y'all ain't laughing though.
Dusk Shroud is your best bet. It's gonna be really expensive, and you might want to say, okay, I'll use the full plate or the Gothic plate, because you can buy those quite easily from Charcy in Hell. We have a Cham rune for Cannot Be Frozen, and 3 scintillating Jewels of Fervor. 15 increased attack speed, 15 increased resistance. This is the armor that allows us to hit our breakpoint. Our attack speed breakpoint is 65. We really want to hit that to get our first hit being a 6 frame, followed by 7, 7, 7, and then 11 frame attack. 3.28 attacks per second. In 1 second, you could hit, 60,000, 60,000, 60,000. Boom, boom, boom. So much damage. A slower Zeal means you're stuck doing Zeal in that position for longer. And if you want to teleport out of danger while you're doing a slower Zeal, that's not good. That's the gear. We'll go over the charms later. On our Switch, I have a energy shield, Call to Arms, but you could also just get memory for a buff on the energy shield, and then use a normal Call to Arms as well. Let's talk about the skills. Skills to pay the bills. Don't need any cold skills. Let's talk about the fire skills first. So we're obviously going to max Warmth and Enchant because we're a melee sorceress. And 1 in each here to allow us to get that. We only have 4 points into Fire Mastery, and the reason is because we have a bunch of hard points into Energy Shield. We have 15 hard points into Energy Shield. This is making us more tanky, but a little less fire damage. But we still are going to kill things really, really fast. 1 point into the static, 1 point in all these right here. And then we're maxing Telekinesis because this is a synergy of Energy Shield. When we have all these points into Telekinesis, it makes Energy Shield allow us to only take 0.75 mana loss per 1 damage. So it makes our sorceress super tanky. And then we're going to max Lightning Mastery. The reason we max Lightning Mastery is because this buffs Holy Shock. Normally Holy Shock will be quite weak as a sorceress. So level 35, which is like GG gear, even if you have less skill, it's still going to do a lot of damage. But I'm going to give you the math for 458% you see here, level 35. So a level 30 Holy Shock it pulses for a paltry 1 to 278 damage every 3 seconds. Again, this is 24 yards. It's off the screen. And it's going to add 1 to 668 damage to your attack. But the Lightning Mastery is going to buff this. Heck, Lightning Mastery even buffs lightning charms and whatnot. Not that you really use many of those. With Lightning Mastery, the pulse is now going to do 5 to 1551 damage. Again, 24 yards. Hits off screen. In patch 2.4, mobs closer to you take double damage. So maybe I'm estimating mobs 12 yards away, so half of the range of what the Holy Shock does, will take double damage. So that would be 10 to like 3100 damage. You know, plus infinity due to the Conviction Aura. That's a lot of damage. And you know, look at this infographic. That's how much damage around you is being pulsed. Now, melee is where the magic happens with Lightning Mastery. It buffs the damage twice. So it's like the Lightning Mastery increases the Holy Shock damage in the same way that a Pally Synergies do, and makes it go up to 9307 damage. But then Lightning Mastery increases your lightning spells again, because now you've got this 9300 Holy Shock on you, and so it's going to increase it again when you melee with it. Not the pulse, but when you melee with it. And so now it's going to do a crazy 51,935 damage with every attack, plus the damage from your enchant, which if you pre-buff could be 10,000 damage. And if you have even more skillers and this and that, you can hit a 71,000 plus damage. So Firestorm from the Hellfire Torch is also buffed by Fire Mastery. We don't know the exact damage it does, but this is Diablo's Firestorm from the Hellfire Torch. It's not the weak Druid one. On live, my Sorceress gear is far from perfect. I'm far too cheap at the moment. I may have 50,000 form gold, but I don't want to spend a dime of it.
Hello, I like money.
And my Sorceress has a level 27 Lightning Mastery, doing 36,000 lightning damage. I do like 45,000 damage with my enchant. It's still really, really good. So we do have the wiggle room for skills. You know, do you put less points into Energy Shield and more points into Fire Mastery? You can opt to do that. I recommend 95% Energy Shield, so that our big mana pool becomes our health pool. If you have a full pre-buff gear for Energy Shield, which will give you 35 points, you only need 5 hard points. But pre-buffing is tedious, and so here I have 15 hard points. So that's up to you how many points you're going to balance between Energy Shield and Fire Mastery. Now we'll go over the attributes. So here, base strength, because we have low strength requirement gear, and the Torch, Annie, and my 30 strength necklace allows me to not need the strength. We're going to max block here, and it's going to give us a lot of attack rating. So 339 dexterity. I know it's a crazy amount, but we need this much because the Dream Shield itself doesn't have much block, and that's why we're using a Tower Shield for 44%, not 40% Troll Nest at like 100 and whatever strength. So we need to use the Tower Shield. Base Vitality, we have 1052 life due to all the amazing charms that I'm going to show you in a second here. And then the rest goes into energy, because we're an Energy Shield Sorceress. Let's buff up real quick here. So FYI, because I'm on single player, I'm using an enchant staff that gives me like 20 skills to enchant, so it's a level 51. So it's a little bit hacked. It's like got all these plus skills and fire skills, fire mastery, blah blah blah. But this is the same as if I was pre-buffing. It's just for the video purposes here. So here we go. 12,400 attack rating, 64,000 damage. If I had more lightning skillers, I would then be at 71,000. But we're not using all lightning skillers. We want to balance between life and mana charms, and maybe even some attack rating charms. Here I have faster hit recovery charms, because if you noticed on the gear we have 30 and 30 and 10 with perfect roll dreams, and then we add 5 each for 90, which allows me to have a little bit of wiggle room with the dreams, where this one could be 28 and this one's 28, or maybe a 30 and a 26, right? Okay. Another note why it's beneficial to have so many points into dexterity is because melee source has a little bit of trouble with attack rating. While a level 20 enchant, we're going to use level 20 numbers just to compare everything, while a level 20 enchant increases attack rating by 191%, let's compare it to some melee characters. So a level 20 Fury on a Fury Druid is 183%, but the Druid also gets Werewolf, which is 335%. So now they're over 500% increased just at level 20, where we are only at 191%. Also, Fury in the patches is getting buffed to have even more attack rating. Barb mastery, their weapon mastery plus their attack is 180 on the weapon mastery, and Berserk, for example, is 385, which is huge. Zeal, little lower. Level 20 is 200%, and Fanaticism 135, but hard points into that also can give you hard points into Blessed Aim can give you 5% per level. And then keep in mind, these melee characters, they have all these different attack rating items, and a Sorceress doesn't have many attack rating items. We're not using Raven, we don't have a full inventory of melee charms, right? So, luckily in Player vs. Monster, we have Conviction Aura, which is going to strip away 83% of the defense of the enemies, but we do gain a lot from having a ton of dexterity. So as weird as it feels to have all that dexterity, it's really important. So that's basically the guide. I'm going to finish off with talking a little bit about some alternative setups that you could do, as well as magic find. So we'll go over the magic find first. Basically, you're going to use the same gear and maybe use some magic find boots, chance guards, maybe a different necklace that instead of having as much mana is going to have like magic find. You're going to use the Geeds, a couple magic find charms, and you'll be able to hit around 200 magic find, which is totally sufficient. You're a little less tankier because you're not using the frostburns, but you'll be fine. Now let's talk about some alternative gear setups. So first of all, let's say you need more attack rating in PvP. So here we have 12,000 attack rating. If you're fighting a melee character, you could put Sanders Riprap on for another 1,000 attack rating against a melee character. Or, because I have a 20 FCR necklace, only if you have a 20 FCR necklace, you could drop down a breakpoint and you could use Sorceress, belt and boots. Yes, these level 3 item, because it gives 950 attack rating. Now we're at 18,000 attack rating. It's an option if you really need to fight that Hammerden who has a lot of defense. Or what if you happen to have a really GG Fools 40 increased attack speed Phase Blade with Zeal charges. This sword would have about 30 Zeal charges, but you can use it, and this will give you 20,000 attack rating. And again, if you're like, okay, this dude has so much freaking defense, you could have 26,000 attack rating on a Zeal Sorceress with these very niche items. Now let's talk about some other options like Twitch Throw. I'm going to show you a different Sorceress that is using Twitch Throw. It's a fantastic item. I think it's more of a PVM item. The reason is that it really lowers your dexterity and lowers your attack rating. So in a situation of PvP, here's my pre-buffed enchant, level 50. I have 9,000 attack rating. You'd only be around 6,000 without pre-buff. It's too low. The cool thing about this is that you're able to put so many more points into energy. The unfortunate thing is with this armor, if only it had 5 more attack speed, it might be the best armor. But you don't hit the top breakpoint. If you tried, you could put a different, increased attack speed belt on, but you start to run into so many other issues that you miss out on other things. So that's why the other setup I showed you is the best. But Twitch Throw can give us a lot more mana. 300 mana. Pretty cool. Lastly, let's go over another really cool option. And if you really want to take this character to the next level in PvP, I think this character might be the one. And what we're using here is a switch. We only switch out this necklace, which is a 2 source, 10% block chance, 30 strength, 20 dexterity, 90 mana necklace. Like, how are you going to find this thing? But as you see, if we enchant with our pre-buff, we have 3,500, almost 3,600 mana with our FCR necklace, but only 56% block. So a little bit less attack rating. This would be our versus other source, other caster. So we have more energy, more mana for being tanky against, your other sorceresses or druid or necro, etc. But we don't have the block. And then when you go up against something like a BVC or a whirlwind assassin and you want some extra block, then you put this necklace on, but you drop down a little bit on the FCR. So this is a potential. I haven't tested this out in the dueling arena, but it gives us a lot more mana. And you get to pick and choose when do you have max block. In terms of PVM, you can actually totally get away with having only a low amount of block. Because you have so much mana with energy shield that you can in PVM, this is something you can experiment with, have a little bit less block. So I'm going to leave you at that. I've shown you all of the different builds, all of the different possible setups. All that's left is for you to try it on your own.